All right, welcome to another edition of the 24th Floor. We got a fully loaded show for you today. We're talking everything from college football and our undefeated Mid-South teams to high school football as the playoffs are getting closer and closer and closer. So let's start with the big idea, high school football heating up. Rich, take it away.
Yeah, Ruben, even with the season moving fast, there's still something rare in high school football around the Mid-South. Just 4 undefeated teams remain. Hit that big idea stinger for me. Germantown, Southwind, Covington, and Munford have all been turning heads with big plays and high-scoring games week after week. From kickoff returns to dominating ground games, these teams have been making a statement.
All right, so this week we turn our attention to a matchup that's got everybody talking in the area. Brentwood Academy taking on Briarcrest. It'll be our game of the week for this Friday.
And joining us now on the 24th floor, the head coach of the 5-2 Saints, Phil Massey. Welcome back for the second time, sir.
Thanks.
Coach, appreciate you being here. This one's going to be tough. I think you can kind of just say, let's start with that. This one's going to be tough.
Yeah, they come in, they're undefeated. Got a very explosive offense. They're averaging 38 points a game. They're only giving up 1 score a game. So we'll have our hands tied. But it'll be, I looked at over the last couple of weeks, and we've played some pretty good people. And in both games, our kids had to basically show a lot of fight and determination. We got behind 14 points in both those games and came back. And we've got some weapons ourselves, but we'll have to play a very good football game. And again, they're good on both sides of the ball, and they also got an outstanding kicker. Every one of their kickoffs will be a touchback, so we're not even working on kick return this week. We kind of skipped that in practice.
So you talk about barn burners. One of the most exciting games I've watched this season was the game you all had against Southwind. Now, you didn't come out with the W on that, but it was very close, and it went all the way down to the wire. Do you think having a game like that where you were that close, that really helps when you talk about a team like Brentwood who's undefeated?
Yeah, because as far as comparing athletes, we're going to get the same caliber athlete that we're playing against this week. And having that experience and understanding the game speed, I think really helps our kids a lot this week.
Now, you talked about having to overcome some early adversity happened in the Christian Brothers game. Tough game as well. Talk about what you saw from your kids, because you had to come back and win that one in overtime, I believe. You throw a touchdown pass there to win it at the end of the game, in the overtime. So talk a little bit about what that showed you about your group.
Well, first it shows just the determination that they have, but the persistent effort that it takes to be successful, especially in this league and playing against top caliber teams. And we sort of dug a hole for us. We were down 14-0, then we cut it to 14-10, and then scored in the fourth. Then it goes up 17-10, and then tied in the fourth quarter, and then we missed a field goal attempt. They missed a field goal attempt, and then it puts it in overtime. It was a great atmosphere, a great game, and obviously being able to come out on top was very rewarding for our kids.
What have you liked about your guys this season? We've spoke ad nauseum on this program about the Tuckers, the Donaldsons, the McFaddens. How have you liked the progression from those guys this season?
The thing that I think is important for a football team is unity. And I think as the season's progressed as well, you've got to be able to trust one another. And it's created, I think we've created a bond or a closeness, and there's becoming a chemistry there that those kids kind of trust each other. And offense feeds off of defense and vice versa, defense feeding off of offense. And when you get that in combination, I think another element is we've had some injuries, and we've had some kids that have had to step up, and that's important too. And so everybody just understanding their role and doing their role is very important for the success of a team, and we've got a bunch of guys that are doing that.
What's it been like? We talk a lot about the guys whose names get called,
Right.
the skill kids. But your lines have got to be doing their job well for those skill kids to be doing what they're doing. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from the big dogs eating up front.
Well, our offensive defensive line, and credit goes to our offensive defensive line coaches for kind of band-aiding things, because that's where we've had some losses. We had a couple of offensive defensive linemen that we lost to surgeries, and they were knee injuries. One we finally got back last week, and he played sparingly. And then against Southwind, we had another starting offensive defensive lineman that had to go through the concussion protocol. So he was out last week, and that hurts our depth. And we're sticking a couple of freshmen in there at times. They were getting obviously great game experience and understanding what it takes. But they've done a great job. They've come in, they've done well, and they've handled it real well. And our other kids, we put a little bit more load on them because there's not much tapping out and coming. It's like we don't have anybody else. And so credit to the coaches that coach them and them for just persevering. And again, we talk about determination. We also talk about toughness. And I think not only have our kids physically showed some toughness this year, but I think it showed a lot of mental toughness with a lot of the adversity that they have faced.
Now, looking at this Friday, you're fortunate to be able to have a team like this at home. And what I have gathered is you all have one of the better home crowds, or just your crowd, period. I remember at the Southwind game, it was a lot of noise on that side to kind of like take away Southwind's momentum, especially when you all scored. How good does that feel to be like, okay, we're going up against a tough opponent, but this time they're coming on our turf in front of our home crowd?
Well, I think it helps with routine. I think we're all creatures of habit, especially I am as a coach. But as a team, we get in kind of in sync with our routines, playing at home, and especially in our league, in our region, we have to travel a lot of times out of state, out of the city. And so having a team from Nashville have to travel and come to us, hopefully it kind of puts them out of routine a little bit. But for us, I love the routine. And of course, our kids love playing at home, and we've had a great student body support, and fans are showing up, and they're loud. And, that's been excellent. So our kids feed off of that as well. So hopefully it'll be another electric crowd and an electric night on Friday night.
All right, last question. I know we got to get you out of here. How ready are your kids for this challenge that is Brentwood Academy?
They're ready. I mean, they have, because we've already kind of gone through this in several scenarios. They had the big rivalry game last week, and then the week before with Southwind being, one of the top teams in the city. Having those challenges, our kids have faced it, and they're ready. So we got to shore up a few things today at practice, and I told them the big thing for this week too is have fun. Yeah. You get this opportunity very few times to just go out and let's have some fun, let it loose, and we'll see what happens.
Well, one thing you're not going to have to let loose is that kickoff return game, because like I said, it's all going to be touchbacks. So I will be out there live this week. It is this week's game of the week. Taking us to Briarcrest. They're going to be hosting the Brentwood Academy. It's going to be a great game. Should be a huge crowd on Friday night. I know Briarcrest is going to show up in full force. Be live out there at 5 and 6 with your live updates and reports, getting you ready for the game. Then we'll have complete highlights coming up at 10 o'clock. If I'm lucky, I'll get J.D. Donaldson catching another one-handed catch.
He's a frequent
for our play of the night
guy.
I got that one on my phone, too. That's how good it was.
Two-time play of the night guy, J.D.
Time for our
Donaldson.
break. When we come back, more high school football. We're going to check in with Whitehaven head coach Rod Salisbury Jr. as the team gets ready for a big matchup coming up.